we're going to go through the quiz. Like always, correct yours next to it on a separate sheet of paper so you don't make the same mistakes with the test. I'll go through points, common mistakes, any questions you may or may not have. For the most part, everyone got this right. It was 0. If you didn't put 0, you didn't get that credit. If you don't remember how to find the slope of this, you can either count your rise over run. You don't have a rise, so it'll be 0. Whatever your run is, it doesn't matter because it's going to be 0 divided by whatever. Or remember your Hoy bucks. Most of us got that right. There were some issues with this one. Most of us set this up correctly. 5/7 minus 3/5 over 4/3 minus 2/3. If you switch them, as long as you switch them both, that was fine. But if you switch just one set of them, then you ended up with a negative instead of a positive. So be careful there. Then you should have shown me how you got common denominators. Most of you chose to multiply these by 7 and these by 5. I think that was the lowest common denominator of the two anyway. So 25 35ths minus 21 35ths. These two you could have either simplified now or waited. And then everything has common denominators, so we should have had 4 35ths all over 2/3. Some of you did this part in the calculator, some of you did it by hand. So that would have been 12 over 70, which simplified to be 6 over 35. So the 3 points on that one were, did you set up the original problem correctly? Was all of your work correct? Did you get the final answer correct? Questions on that one? Most of us got that one. There was some minor issues, like not showing all your steps or stuff like that, but most of us got that one. Most of us got this one. Some of us flipped them, but there were 3 x-intercepts. How you put this did not matter. -4, 0, -2, 0, and 1, 0. If it was not in that order, you got points taken off. If you did not have the parentheses, as that makes the order paired, you got points taken off. Your y-intercept was at 0, 2, and same thing for that one. But if you got all of those, you got all 4 points. 4 was our problem. Most of you got the y-intercept because it's here. If you put it in the right order, you got the point. You didn't need to show the work for that one, but some of you did. That was fine. The work for the x-intercept, remember to find an x-intercept, your y value has to be 0. This is the same as y, so you needed to change this to 0 and solve for x. Some of you divided here, and I didn't take off, but you should be getting in the habit of flipping this and multiplying. Some of you, when you multiplied, got a negative still, but you should have gotten a positive because this would have been positive 20 over 5, which is 4. So your 3 points for that one, did you show the work correctly? And did you get your 2 intercepts correct? Questions on that process? Turn over to the back. There were different issues here. So I'm going to show this one in 2 different ways. Some of you solved by converting this back into slope-intercept form. So subtracting 2x and dividing everything by -3. If that's not how you did it, don't erase or cross out your word. So if you did it this way, you should have gotten a positive 2/3 x plus 2, which means you would have started at 2, went up 2 to the right 3, and down 2 to the left 3 to get a graph of at least 3 points. However, some of you solved by intercepts, which means you had 2x minus 3 times 0 to get 2x equals -6, divided both sides by 2, to get x equals -3, and then did the same thing to find the y-intercept. So that y equals 2. But if you were graphing by x and y intercepts, you should have only had 2 points, not 3. The third point was for slope intercept only. So some of you graphed 3 points but solved by x-intercepts, so be careful. You should not be mixing 2 points for x and y intercepts, multiple points for slope intercept. If it doesn't specify, you have the choice, but don't mix them. So the 2 points were, did you solve correctly? Did you graph correctly? Questions on that one? And then this next one was hit or miss. Some of you got this and some of you did not. Using your boy bucks, if this is an x equals, this needs to be a vertical line at 3. If you did a horizontal line, that was incorrect. Or if you only plotted a point, that was also incorrect. You need to graph the whole line. Questions on that one? Most of us got the last section correct. But then there were some minor issues with this one. So there were 5 things you were supposed to do for this problem. Plot the y-intercept, plot 2 additional points, and then describe how the function was translated. So the 2 translations, the slope got steeper by 2. And the y-intercept shifted down 3. If you only put steeper by 2, shifted down by 3, you didn't specify what happened. Or if you didn't put the direction, or didn't put the number, you missed points there. So then the y-intercept should have been at -3. The slope, you just needed 2 more points. So I'm going to draw all of the points you could have drawn, but you only needed 2 of these. So any of those purple dots, but you should have only had 2 of them. If you had the y-intercept and more than 2 of these, you got points taken off because you weren't following directions. Questions on that one? This was a typo. This should have said 8. But for 8, you're supposed to circle the correct answers, and the correct answers were 1/2 and 4.5 less than. Those were, you either got the points or you didn't. Questions on that? Questions on anything quiz related or test related before you take your test?
On number 7, why are we only supposed to have 2 dots?
Now, technically, you're supposed to have 3 dots, because this is black and white intercept and 2 additional dots, but. Other questions? Any confusions we want to clear up before you guys take your tests?
I have a question about mine. What is this mean?
This is steeper or less steep. You just put increase in steepness, but I don't know if that means it's steeper or is it less steep. Other questions? All circles. You should have all of the circles, not just those. I'm not sure what you did here. More wide. All the stuff is very